wasn't going to happen that that colorful guy that, she was talking about she was going to be related somehow to him, and he was going to be a contribution to her. That wasn't going to happen. Okay, a review of where we have gotten so far in clarifying the statements of our contextual framework. You will notice that our clarification of the definition of leadership as term will now be more pointed for you. So what they're saying is, having covered the ground we've covered, we're going to go look at this definition of term, and you're now going to see it in a different way, because you're in a different place. Bring into being as a reality a future that, in the prevailing context, was not going to happen. That is, did not occur as an authentic possibility, did not call into effective action those required to act in order to realize that future. You will also notice that the domain in which leader and leadership exist as concepts is now more pointed for you. So now we're going to look at concepts from the ground that you've taken. As concepts, leader and leadership exist in the temporal domain of a created future that the leader and those being led come to live into, and which future gives them being and action in the present. Back to clarifying created future. The future is not like some object that exists out there to be represented more or less accurately. Remember, there is no certain future. All futures exist only as a possibility, and as such are constituted in language. Even if they occur as an image, for that image to have meaning requires a substrate of language. It requires the image to be connected to language. Otherwise, you have a picture without meaning. There's no future as such in the brain. Although, as we said, neuroscientists sometimes talk about the brain making predictions about the future. They do so, and we did so, to be more easily understood and to avoid the complex technical language required to say what is in fact going on in the brain. The brain is composed of neurons that are connected together in patterns. In the brain, there is a pattern of prediction derived from past patterns of perception and action, which derived pattern could loosely be called a predicted future. Which derived pattern generates patterns of ways of being and acting in the present. But in the brain, that's all there is, just patterns. No future as such. The human animal and some other animals can become aware of an image of what comes next that is triggered by and is actually an extension of the image in the present. No language is involved so far if all that is happening is just an image. In fact, this image of the present and the extension of what's next can trigger a response, and even an image of what's next after it, and so on in a like manner, all with no language being involved. While at first blush, such images of what comes next might be considered as images of the future devoid of language, they are simply a string of triggered stimulus-response phenomena. These images of what comes next are not the future, rather they are extensions of the present. They merely extend the present. They're given by the present, but they're not given by the future. In order for images of what comes next that are simply an extension of the present to have the impact that the future has on the present, one would have to do some thinking about what comes next. For example, one could think about whether what comes next is good or bad. If it's good, decide to do nothing and let it come. Or if it's bad, think about what to do to avoid what was in the image of what comes next. Saying the same thing in another way, in order for such images of an extension of the present to be considered as a possible future, rather than simply what's next, language needs to be involved. Thinking back to our example, there is no good or bad out there. Good or bad only exists in language. As we said, images require a substrate of language to have meaning beyond being a pretty picture. Note, virtually all meaningfulness requires a substrate of language. Future exists only in language. And as you will see, it is exactly the fact that the future is constituted in language that can transform the future and its impact on the present from something dismal into an opportunity for a future that wasn't going to happen. You will remember that the sphere in which leader and leadership exist as phenomena is language. While we will later clarify what we said in our contextual framework about leader and leadership as phenomena, you might begin to see how the four aspects of our contextual framework, taken together, fully distinguish leader and leadership, and as such actually provide you with access to the range of being required to be a leader and for the effective exercise of leadership as contrasted with a mere understanding of leader and the effective exercise of leadership. Anything about this so far? You get the part that the future is constituted in language. It says, and as you will see, it is exactly the fact that the future is constituted in language that can transform the future and its impact on the present from something dismal into an opportunity. That's what you were talking about, right? Okay. The cosmic joke, and then we're done. The cosmic joke is 8 slides. We have half an hour? Almost? Almost? 20 minutes?
25.
Okay, cool. All right, cosmic joke. And then we'll be done with this section. This joke is a cosmic joke because it reflects the universal truth about human nature. It's a joke because, like any joke, in order to get the punchline, the truth about human nature, you can't reject the first few lines because they don't fit your reality. Like any joke, in order to get the punchline, you have to accept what is said in the first few lines as though they were possible. Here's the first line of the joke. The past has nothing to do with who you are or the way you act in the present. This first line says that the present is not shaped by or even influenced by the past. Now remember, this is a joke. The second line, the present is given by the future into which you are living. Given means determines your view of yourself and life, impacts your thoughts and feelings, and shapes your actions. So the present is given by the future in which you are living into. But the first line says the past has nothing to do with who you are and the way you act in the present. So they repeat first, the past has nothing to do with who you are or the way you act in the present. The present is given by the future into which you are living. The third line of the joke is a question. If it's true that the past does not impact the present, rather that the present is given by the future into which you are living, how come it seems so clear and everyone, including the experts, believe that the present is shaped by the past? Punchline. If it's true that 1, the present is given by the future, and 2, you put the past into the future, it will seem to you that the past is shaping the present. It is as though there is 2-drawer file cabinet, one labeled past and one labeled future, and you unwittingly file your past in the future drawer. All the evidence will leave you and others believing that the present is unquestionably given by the past. Conclusion. If you leave the past in the past, that is to say, if you do what you need to do to complete the past for yourself, while being informed by the past, you can create a future to live into. Remember, the way to see life in the present, what you think and feel, and the way you act are given by the future into which you are living. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. George Santayana. Those who envision the future based on the past are also condemned to repeat it. Werner Erhard, Cosmic Comic. For you and the people you are leading to be able to create a created future, and certainly for you and them to come to live into that created future, rather than the past-derived default future, you will need to make some space in your future drawer. Tell the joke you learned today. So that's the joke you learned today. So this will be your break assignment. The first thing find the thing to which you are referring to when you say I. So that will be your home. Find the thing. Find it. Find the thing to which you are referring when you say I. Just go ahead and find it.
Now?
Yeah, go ahead and find it.
Yeah, my body.
It's your body?
Yeah.
Is that the thing you refer to when you say I?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I say I mean myself, that is my word.
Your word?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you find the thing which you are referring to when you say I?
It must be a physical thing or can be abstract.
Whatever the thing.
It's my type of thinking.
Hmm?
It's my type of thinking. My type of thinking.
Your type of thinking is what you call I.
Yeah.
But that's not
It's my individual.
that's not
type.
exactly a thing though. That's an abstract.
So I just asked you if it could be an
Oh.
abstract thing.
Oh, I
And you said whatever.
Okay. Oh, we can consider abstract things.
If it's physical, it's just me, like one
Your body.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's an experiment that I did. It's not in the course. So, point at the floor. Actually do this experiment. This will be an as-lived experiment. Point at the floor. Is that you? Is this that the thing I call I?
No.
Go ahead, actually try. Point somewhere. All right. All right. What, is that I?
No.
Okay. Now move it closer, like right in front of your foot.
It's almost time.
It's almost I. Okay, now point right there at your foot, your shoe.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
bigger than I am.
Point at it. Are you pointing at it? Okay, good. Now, is that you?
Yes, my shoe.
It is?
My shoe.
Yeah.
It's my shoe, my leg, my
It
arm,
is
my
me.
head.
Well,
Where
we're
is
just
you?
going to your shoe right now. Is that you?
No, it's just my shoe.
It's just your shoe. Okay.
No, but for example, when there are a lot of people and they just pointing on their legs, and somebody points on your leg and say, "Is it you?" You say, "Yes, it's me."
Right, you do. So, but
Even
we're going
if-
to run this
even if it's
experiment.
like-
We're going to run this experiment, okay? All right, so let's say your shoe is off and you're pointing to your foot. Is that you?
Yeah, it's my
It
foot.
is? Huh?
It's my foot.
It's your foot.
But is it a part of you? It's part of my body.
Okay, but is that you?
No, yeah, but it's my body. It's
All right,
not
well, we could
myself.
take that foot off and then do an operation and put it over there, and we can point to that foot. Is that you?
No.
No. Oh, okay, so your foot's not you. So point there to your knee. Is that you?
No.
Is that you?
No.
No. It's not? Because you can cut it. Oh, I see. Well, let's start working.
No, I don't think so.
I see it's hard. Let's start working your way up, okay? Let's point to your stomach. Is that you? No.
Yeah, because you can't cut it.
What about your heart?
We also can cut it.
Yes, you can actually have a heart transplant, can't you? So that's not you.
Oh.
Okay, so how about this, the brain? Is that you?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
No,
We
I
can
don't
turn
think
it
so.
right now.
Huh?
Who you are without brain?
Brain, I'm just, no. Brain is just the part that generates myself.
And what is your
Just
self?
the
I don't-
engine.
I
No,
don't-
wait a
Something
minute,
like that.
that's, you're saying something that we can't say yet. That's not, we haven't we haven't run the experiment that says your brain is me. Or tell that, we don't know that yet. Well, we're just
My
doing,
brain is my brain. It can be put into something, into some other place, and that would be just the brain of some person.
yeah, it could be.
exist without it.
I won't exist with my heart and with my stomach. I won't exist too.
You
So
can
you
exist
could
with
take
someone.
part of your brain, you know,
Yeah.
the part that you call I, and you know, you could, people have lost their brains, haven't they? In wars and battles, right? But they wouldn't say that's them, would they?
It's just a mess of something.
Right, so is there anything you can point to in your body that you would say that is I?
No.
Anything? Oh, so maybe you're not a thing at all. Maybe you're something else besides a thing. If all your parts are,
So
you
I
know,
just ask you, it could be, it just abstract meaning, which I call I. It's not physical, it's not a thing. I
okay,
can-
all right, well, let's look at that. Let's look at it for a minute. All right?
I think that I is my word and my actions correlated to my words of integrity.
Okay.
Because
But you
I,
learned that from the leadership course.
yes, but this makes a perfect sense.
Well, I know, but we're running this experiment to try to find I, because they said, find the thing to which you are referring to, you say I. That's what we're doing. We're doing the
There's
experiment.
nothing from this.
May I ask,
What?
can we call I just the past, which I defines, identifies me? It's the things which I have done, the experiments, experience which I have what I've got, which defines myself and which
Yeah,
gives me
all
my
those-
personal type of thinking and my personal type of
Yeah,
acting.
yes. Yeah, all those
So,
things.
Is that me? Is it I?
Well, is it?
I think yes.
Okay.
But could it be like
Now let's, huh?
Experiences is said.
Now let's see if we can validate that that is you. Or for me, that's me.
You have a different past, so you
I would be a different I.
yes, you
Can
will
I
be
say that
So,
another person living my life will think different and will react to all that happened to me in a different way.
okay, all right.
but
Now-
nobody can live your life just
But
as you
just
in the imagined
as
situation.
I and my brother are living in the same family. We are not living the same life, but we are living really just similar lives. We are living in the same family, in the same country. We're in the same situations all the time, but we are different persons.
Yeah.
But
Now here, let's
not in always situation. Maybe your brother had a very difficult situation.
But in the same situation, he reacts in a different way.
Because you
Okay,
have
hold on, so these patterns that you're talking about are in your brain.
yeah.
Okay, so let's take that part of the brain as the frontal cortex. That's where all that stuff is stored. Yeah, patterns. Okay, let's take that out. You know what electroconvulsive shock therapy is?
Yes.
Yeah. So it erases all the neurons.
Yes.
Right.
I know.
It short circuits everything, right? So now, is if you do that, what would you say happened to I? Are you there? Where is the thing you refer to as I now, if you took all that out?
Like if I do the lobotomy?
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody?
Yeah, or electric shock.
If the eye disappeared?
Well, that's what we're trying to find the thing called I. And you said it's your thoughts and the sum experience of your past. And I just dreamed up some way to erase it all in your brain.
I think I will disappear.
You would disappear.
If my thoughts.
Okay, so your I is the sum of your thoughts that
And
were
my
given by the past. And if we erase all that, then you, the thing you call I, will disappear.
Well, I think yes.
You think yes? That's okay.
It's
That's
okay.
good. That's good. I don't
What
have
do
an
you
answer.
think about it?
I don't have an answer. I don't.
You don't
we're-
have an
what-
answer.
Leadership said that we are our words, but words and actions are created in brain. There will be no words, no actions without brain. So we
I
are.
don't think so.
When
So you're saying
Well, you
that
will get
you are your brain.
Yes.
But
Because the words, words and actions are born in our brain.
Okay.
So without it, there
So,
will be no existence.
You're
of
saying
words.
you are your brain patterns, your neurons. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And what do you define by
I'm-
eye?
And
I'm listening to you guys right now.
Do you
I could never
define
find it. I could
I am
never.
nothing
I think-
and everything in
Huh?
one time.
What?
I am nothing and everything in one time.
Where did you say that?
I just thought
Philosopher says I am
Where do you look? Where do you find? Find the thing which you are referring to. You just came up. You came up with what you came up with. You came up with what, and it's fine. Find this thing.
Maybe I consider I to be one's personality, the complex one personality in the exact body. Well, it's an integrity, the integrity of your mind and of your body. And
But
your
there are
heart.
some-
Because there could be a similar person, as Levko said. You may be twins, but you have similar bodies, a similar appearance, but you are different inside.
Yeah.
Your personalities.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
So you are your insides.
No, your
No.
integrity is your
insects with connected with
Yes.
insects.
Huh?
But I think there is like a film with Mel Gibson about what women are thinking, and they are just changed the bodies, but he was he and there was some another thing when persons changed their bodies, but they were
You're still
that person, but in the other body. So
But when he saw his body, he said, "That's me." Not that's that.
because he
Yes.
identified him with his body. But
Yes.
he was thinking in the other body, and he was out here in the other body.
But he can't also. He isn't he. He isn't I. He. Without his body, we need, as somebody said, that our body and our mind creates.
No.
Yes.
But body is just a
It's
different
Okay,
identification.
when your body is dead on the road, will you say that that's me?
How will you say this?
If
Yes.
it's my body.
How will you say it if you will
You
be
just
dead?
define your body is
Hold on.
you are not your
Keep-
body.
Yeah,
No,
this is
everybody-
good. Hold it.
Body is.
I want you to keep doing this after class, all right? With yourself. Keep trying to. We're going to talk about
It's too
The-
difficult.
cosmic joke for a little while, okay? And you're going to keep. This is a great conversation. You're going to discover. Keep
Yes,
trying to
everybody
find.
has his own opinion.
Keep trying to find this thing called I, and have these conversations, okay? And keep trying to find the thing called I.
But we will
No.
not come to something.
Oh, I don't know, but don't dismiss what it is that she's saying. Actually trying to see what is.
But we are everything
But
and
yeah, but
nothing.
everyone is making a perfect sense.
Okay, well, fine. Then you tell her that, and then she'll listen to you, and and you'll exchange these ideas, and you just say, well, okay, if you're everything, nothing, where is this thing you call I? Keep asking him that question. When he says, well, I'm everything, well, where is this thing that you call I? That's the question. That's find it. Find it. That's what your
Can't find.
homework is. Find where this thing is you call I.
You can't find.
And you can try finding the thing, like exists like this thing, and then when you exhaust all that, then you can go to abstract. A friend of mine who's a PhD, she's a spirit, and the spirit is attached to her brain. That's where she got. And then we took it, okay, so you're this brain and there's a spirit attached. How is the spirit attached? By a string, or can you see this thing? How does that work? And it's like, okay, well then where did you get that? Where did you get that? Where did you get this everything, nothing? And so then you can try to find this thing you call I as an abstract thing. Try to find it as a physical thing, and then as an abstract thing. Okay? All right.
It's definitely.
All right, so continue the inquiry. So this cosmic joke, what about, we have like 5 more minutes?
4 minutes.
4. So what, do you get this cosmic joke? What about this cosmic joke?
Can you
Can you
explain?
In simple words.
Go over this
Because
thing?
it is difficult to concentrate on all
No, just
that.
not go over
And then
this
we
thing,
can-
just to explain.
Okay, the past has nothing to do with who you are and the way you act in the future. Can you see that experts have said both of these things? And you have. You said the past has nothing to do with who you are or the way you act in the present. You said that a classroom ago, didn't you? You said, well, I don't think the past has everything to do with it. But neuroscience said, didn't you say that? No. Somebody was sitting there, I thought it was you, and you said, well, I don't think the past always has anything to do.
No, you were speaking about your childhood. You said
Well, that's
you
true.
said that childhood doesn't.
Yes.
All right.
It was about the past. Yes.
So change your mindsets then. But anyway, at some point in time,
It was a different context of my words.
okay. Well, it was the past and its relationship to how we live our lives. Yeah? That's what you were talking about. Childhood is a past.
Yes.
Doesn't our, and you said, doesn't our childhood always affect our, I don't think our childhood always affects our path. That's what you were saying, right? So
Not
that's
always,
your past
and in different ways.
in a different way.
So it's not a cliche that something happened in childhood and the person will become someone. It can change you some way, but for every person it will be different.
True, every person will be different. Yeah, we make up our brain patterns in different ways. Yeah. So, there's a conundrum here. You know, a conundrum, two things happening at the same time. That's what he's calling a joke. It's really a conundrum. Two things are happening at the same time and they don't make any sense. We had one of those earlier in the course. Remember that? It was like, it makes you think. And when it makes you think like that, yeah. And when it makes you think, you start to see new things. But the point is to kind of make you think. So you don't take something at face value. You're actually thinking on the court. So the past has nothing to do with who you are or the way you act in the present. People say that. Yes, I'm a free will. I am a free agent. That's what a human being is. They say that. Yeah? But the present is given by the future I'm living into. So if I'm going to Hawaii next week, I'm going to be happy. I don't care if I have a whole bunch of homework, right? That future, or if you have a new girlfriend or a new boyfriend and you just can't wait to meet them, right? You know how that is. The beginning changes after a while. But you know how, and there's a reason why it changes it. Well, we can talk about that in the beginning of course. But that's a future that you're living into that makes you being excited and thrilled because you're going to see them. Yeah? So that present, my present, my being excited is given by the future that I'm gonna meet my girlfriend or whatever, gives me excited. That gives me who I'm being in the present. Yeah? But the past has nothing to do with who you are and the way you act in the present. Except for neuroscience says, and we know, there's these brain patterns that we put together that helps us to survive, that keeps me from walking out in front of traffic. So when I see her over there on the other side of Kyiv-Mohyla Street, right? I don't just go because, right? So I have some past in my future there. And then when I get up close, I realize that, what can we say about her? It reminds me of the past. I realize that she's 2 feet taller than I am. And somewhere in the past, I got the idea that you can't, you know, you have the girl always has to be a little shorter, or somewhat shorter, or a whole lot shorter, but you can't have, right? That's, everybody knows that's not right, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody in the past said that, so that must be what it is like, yeah? So, you know, there she is. She's like a football player. And it's like, oh, I can't, right? I can't be in this relationship. So all of a sudden, that future that I was living into is now colored by something that somebody told me in the past, in some way that I know life is. And that's now giving me my future with this person.
Everything is colored with
Everything is colored by the past.
that. And by the future.
Yeah, but it's, how does that work? How does that,
Like the hand?
you know, but there's the future that I'm living into, and then there's the past. But so,
But there is not
what can
exact
you say
future.
about the past and the future? How do you explain that this happens?
There's
I was so
So
excited,
we, okay, then,
but
so
she's
we
a
have,
football player.
so we have to put our judgments and evaluation and all that past thing in the past and just live in our future. That means
creating your
live today.
future.
Or we can put the future and build into the past and build our present.
No, we can't.
Okay, so there's this future got into our past, right? So there's this, you know, I was gonna have this great girlfriend on this side of Kyiv-Mohyla, but when I get over on that side, she's a football player. She's taller than I am and stronger and faster, and I'm like, no, this can't be, right? So the future I'm living into is now completely different. How does that happen?
Because of past.
Huh?
Because of past.
Yeah, but I got something somebody told me
Because
about.
there is patterns in your brain which
Yeah,
says
because
that it
Already
could be
always,
possible, but
this already always
stereotypes.
listening,
Huh?
this already always listening, these judgments and evaluation that
Yeah.
somebody
And
told
where
us
did they
in-
come from, though?
from our
past.
past.
From the past. They
From
didn't
our
come
childhood.
Told us.
from the past. But what happened to them? They just didn't stay in the past, did they?
But they transform it into our future.
It did. It got into our future. It got into my future.
So past builds our future, and
But-
future builds our present because we
But
are now.
we don't have to just
Yeah.
to
That's the conundrum. But the future builds our
Present.
present.
present,
But
and but it's given by the
past.
past.
So we need to do something with past to build our present and future.
Yeah. Now, by the way, all this happens in language, and we have access to language. So we have access to this, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next class, is getting access to this. But you got to know that that happens,
That happens.
or you're going to be blindsided.
Okay, we just now
But
got
can
to
we just,
understand that our
can we
past
just
builds our future and future builds present, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
And,
past and your future gives your present that you're living into.
and what comes next?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk
but
about
can we
how to
just
get
turn
access.
down?
First you have to know that mechanism
Okay.
exists. It's all right, you can stretch.
Can-
First you have to know that mechanism exists before you can impact it. Because
I
it's
just
in
turned on all that past stuff because there is a great girl standing out there and I can't get there because of someone in deep down in past told me that I can't. That's bullshit. I should just turn it down and do what I want to do.
Yeah,
Because I want to have that future, not that future with girl which is lower than me.
okay.
So
Sure.
that's just the thing to live past in the past.
Yeah, but, okay, so this is your homework. How do you determine when the past is in your future? How do you know that in your thing, how did you know that just happened? Well, how do you figure out that your past just got in your future? How do you know that?
Maybe when there is a possibility, a really nice possibility, but somehow you can't get it because you think that that you're not a better for the not a, okay. There are a lot of people that want to gain a lot of money, to make a lot of money, but there are a little small amount of people that really know that in future they are going to be billionaires and millionaires, and the rest of the people are not just they want to make money, but they don't believe that they will become the most powerful people with with the biggest amount of money because of their past, and they just think that this past is stops them to
Yeah.
do this.
Okay.
And that's how we define
So we'll-
that past is a
Okay, so your job is to, on the court, see where your past is in your future.
Like to have an example. So.
Yeah, see,
And
when,
tomorrow we will.
how would you recognize in your past that, you leave this room here and you go out into life? How would you recognize if the past got in your future? So that's what I want you to find out. How do you know that the past got in your future? You're out there, you left the coaching session here, and you're out there. How
And
will you recognize when your past has gotten in your future? That's your homework. To recognize, how do you know?
To
How do you
think
get
about
your
it.
hands on the lever, huh?
To think about it.
Don't answer, that's your homework. You answer it tomorrow.
And we will be happy.
Just answer it tomorrow. So find out where this thing called I is.
Watch the video.
Find out where this thing called I is, and
We'll-
how is it that you know that your past got in your future? How do you know that? How do you recognize that happened? That's your homework. How do you recognize that the past got in your
And we will
future?
discover what to do. We discover by ourselves what to do with all this.
We're only about halfway through this course. All right, thanks. Good job.